Alright, what's up, folks? This is Antonio Fletcher coming at you once again with another video. And in this particular video, I'm going to destroy some rhetoric. Because you see, those who typically claim to be pro-transgender rights usually aren't as pro-transgender rights as they claim to be. I am not, saying this is the case for all people, but for, I would say, at least a substantial amount of them, this is the case. And I'm going to back that up by showing you a story that was from last November in 2015, on November 26, 2015. The story was transgender woman barred from temp mosque unless she dresses as a man or can prove she's a woman. And the story is leaders of a temp mosque have decided that if congregant Sumuya Dawood, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, wants to continue attending prayers and other community functions at the Islamic Community Center, she must either dress and pray as a man or provide medical documentation that she is anatomically female. Now, I'm going to leave a link in the description if you want to read the entire story. But this was a story reported by the Phoenix New Times last November. Now, typically when discrimination happens to LGBTQ, groups or people or whatever, you have social justice groups and liberal groups and pro-LGBTQ groups that are all over it. When the Christian wanted to refuse to bake a cake because the cake that was asked to be baked was inconsistent with their personal beliefs, they did everything they wanted to do to destroy the Christian. All right? They wanted to do everything they wanted to do. Now, this story is going to be pointing out their gaping hypocrisy here. And I'm going to do that in the following way. I looked up a list of gay, lesbian, bisexual, and transgender liberation groups. You got groups like the National Gay and Lesbian Task Force, Human Rights Campaign, Lambda Legal Defense and Education Fund, Gay and Lesbian Alliance Against Defamation, Gay, Lesbian, and Straight Education Network, National Youth Advocacy Coalition, Soul Force, Parents, Families, and Friends of Lesbians and Gays, the Williams Institute on Sexual Orientation, Law, and Public Policy, International Gay and Lesbian Human Rights Commission, just all sorts of groups on this. Now, if you want to see what their outrage to the Islamic Community Center in Tempe, Arizona was, if you want to notice their sheer outrage to the discrimination of this claim to be transgender woman, if you want to know what the sheer outrage was about, then let's do a little search. Let's look at some of these groups. All right. National LGBTQ Task Force. Let's search up Mr. or Miss or whatever pro LGBTQ people, politically correct people want to say he or she is. All right. I personally am going to say he. All right. I'm not going to say someone who is biologically a man as a woman. And I don't care if you get offended by that. But anyway, here's the search for this person. Well, would you look at that? No results. You'd like to think if they were so for LGBTQ rights and equality that that would be a story on their website to point out the inequality, but there is no results. So wouldn't you imagine that? Let's try another one. A human rights campaign. Let's search Samuya Dawood. Here's one result here, and they mention it. Let's see. LGBT people of faith are coming out and coming home. All right, I already took a look at the story, and most of them isn't even talking about that particular event. But if you scroll down, it points out the story that she was barred, that Samuya Dawood, a Muslim transgender woman, was barred from the women's prayer space where she felt most comfortable. And that just leads to the story that I already just showed you in the Phoenix Times. But notice they just pointed out that that happened. There is absolutely no denouncing of this Islamic community center. There's no campaign to get these people shut down. There's no campaign to sue these people, find these people, nothing. They just pointed out that that happened. But they ain't, no big campaign to get these people sued or nothing. So basically, they kind of mention it in passing, but they don't really come down on it on a level like what happened with that Christian who didn't want to bake a cake. Okay, let's try another one. Lambda Legal Defense, or is it defense? I think. Yeah, legal defense. Okay, Lambda Legal Defense, making the case for equality clearly for LGBTQ people. All right, let's see. Samuya Dawood. No results. And let's try shortening the results to see if that changes anything. Well, what do you know? No results. Okay. The outrage is just searing, isn't it? Let's try GLAD. All right. A very, very big. I'm talking about the Pulse shooting, but this is a very, very big advocate for LGBT equality and rights. Again, let's look up Samuya Dawo. Let's do a search. All right, it just shows an interview here and talk about this person being a transgender Muslim woman. And let's see. Just talks about her being an activist. It's asking her questions. Let's see. Let's scroll down to, here's a good one. How has your faith community been during your transition? Do you think they can be even more accepting? Once my transgender status became public, I found the community rather polarized on the issue. Many Muslims have come forward and expressed their support, love, and understanding, as well as acceptance for who I am. There are many Muslims, however, who will not associate with me or support me, including Islamic leaders. I pray that the community will become more educated and accepting over time. You see? Okay, glad. Yes. no denouncing of the Islamic Community Center in Tempe, Arizona, but just a mention of her. So, yes, the outrage continues to be on a monumental scale. It is just laughable. Let's try another one. Another LGBT group. Samuya Dawood. No results. Would you look at that? Just sad. Okay. And here's another one for Soul Force. Because Soul Force didn't have a search on their website, I did a Google search and connected it to Soul Force. And there was no results from Soul Force. Okay, here is a Soul Force right here. Another LGBT group. Blog post talks about bathrooms and the right to life. They don't have a search bar as far as I can tell, but that's why I did a Google search on Soul Force and Samuya Dawood, or Samoya Dawood, however you pronounce that. No results for Soul Force. This is laughable, people. All right, here's another one. Another LGBT equality group. They had mentioned the Orlando shooting. Let's search for Samoya Dawood. Or Samoya Dawood. Nothing. Would you imagine my shock here? All right, shorten the results. Nothing. This is just baffling. This is pathetic. Okay, let's try another one. Outreach or Outright Action International, formerly known as the International Gay and Lesbian Human Rights Commission. All right, Samuya Dawood. They had mentioned the Orlando shooting. Look at that. No results. Let's see. You can even. I'll shorten it again. No results. Checking their own websites, nobody's talking about this. Let's see, ACL. I looked up results for the ACLU, didn't find anything. Let's go straight to the ACLU's website. Let's see. All right. American Civil Liberties Foundation. Let's search Samuya Dawood. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. All right. Let's try Dawood again. None of these results are even remotely related to Dawood. These are super old results, and there's no connection in any of these results to. So, yeah, absolutely nothing. On supposed to be one of the biggest advocates from LGBTQ rights, the ACLU said absolutely nothing. Let's see what Salon.com had to say. Okay, let's see. Let's do Salon.com. And obviously, huge liberal publication. All right, let's see some of you. Hold on. Let's see. Here's the proper search bar. Okay. Would you look at that? No results. And none of these results are even remotely related to. So again, the writing's on the wall, people. It's obvious the raving hypocrisy and the deafening silence upon people who claim to be pro-transgender rights. The main groups, the top groups, not saying a dang thing about it. These people only care about promoting a narrative, people. They only care about trying to go after certain people who they claim to be anti-LGBTQ rights. Typically Christians, which is their main target, but Islam, engaged in the same type of stuff. Nobody says anything. Their own people say nothing. If you don't see a problem with this, if you don't see the raving hypocrisy here, then you are an absolute fool. That's just point blank. That's just the bottom line, all right? This is absolutely pathetic. Anyway, that's all I wanted to put forth to you guys, and I hope you all enjoyed the video. But before I put this video to a complete close, it's just important that we end it with this thought from our fellow social justice warrior. If you are truly interested in truly pointing out bigotry and discrimination and anti-social justice warrior ideals, then you need to be just like this person right here. And who am I talking about? I'm talking about our really special friend, Anita Sarkeesian. Because here's the bottom line. If you were going to point out this hypocrisy, then be consistent in pointing out hypocrisy. Because
like when you start learning about systems, everything is sexist, everything is racist, everything is homophobic, and you have to point it all out.
Everything is sexist, everything's offensive to people like me.